Hello again and welcome to the Hangout. We're working on Dungeon Alchemist again and doing some more on caves. After the last very quick video I did, which gave you a way to convert the walls of a room to make it look like it was a cave, I did some looking online and some playing, working with the environment editor to create caves. So you're not staring at a very dull blank screen. I'm going to go File, New, 40 by 40. The reason I'm doing such a small space is for the speed of operations. You can do far larger spaces, but you will have protracted pauses while the software works out what it's doing. And I mean, go away, make a cup of tea, and come back, make the pauses here. I'm going to go for grasslands, so it's easy to see. Flat. Be careful with the more interesting types, mountains, ravines. It can make it more challenging to lift your terrain. You'll see what I mean in a minute. I'm not going to have any water on it to start off with, and I will have some vegetation and create. While it's working, oh, that was nice and quick. The advantage of a 40 by 40 grid. As I was about to say, if you like this video, please give a click on the like button. If you want to see more, please subscribe to the channel. It's really useful to see what people want and gives you a really good method for getting your content out there. On the other hand, if you don't like it, you don't like it. You're more than welcome to your opinion. Environment settings, brush size, and raise terrain, because what we're going to do is take this flat terrain, and this does work on any of the terrain types, just more bitty on some of the others, and we're going to lift it as far as it will let us. Now this is going to take a little while I work around it. The software has just come out. I have noticed one problem with very large maps and exporting to Foundry. They don't like it. A very large map I was trying, the first time I tried this, just came out black. So be warned at the moment, 40 by 40s are working, but I had a struggle with a larger one. I'm sure the devs are working on it. They have reported that there are some issues at the moment with Foundry export, and they have tweaked temporarily how to export to Foundry, or more accurately how you import in Foundry at the other end from my initial video. The only real difference is you've now got to direct Foundry to the background picture, as well as loading in the background, as it's not liking having the picture tied into the JSON file, if that means anything to you. So what I'm doing here is creating the hill that my caves are going to be inside. And what I will do when I've created the hill and the external geography is I will save it. I'm saying this now on the off chance that I get overexcited and forget. And by saving it, that means I can export or take an image of a version that has no caves on it, so I could use that to put a hill over the caves within Foundry, and that would then mean that my players could think they were walking over the top because they wouldn't be able to see inside to start off with. I haven't played with that functionality much in Foundry yet, so you'll have to work out for yourselves what headaches that causes and whether any of the issues you get by placing walls affect the higher levels. One thing with this technique over the creating rooms technique you will find is that you will have to go into Foundry and place your walls manually. Now there are two options on how to use this system. One is that you fill everything in and then dig out your cave. That is my preferred option. Another option would be just to fill the outsides and then fill in the space around your caves. I'm doing this in real time because this gives you an idea of how long it takes. You also get to see the raising tool, which you can use quite creatively. If I kind of scatter it across here gradually, you'll see that I can actually create a bit of a slope, and you'll get terrain on that slope if you make it gradual enough. I don't actually want a slope on this. I want to fill it all in so that I can put my caves inside. So to show you a bit of the logic for both, that's now got a cave in there. I'm going to take this because I want all of my walls as steep as possible. But this will save a little bit of time and stop you guys getting too bored with the tone of my voice. Now I'm still leaving this as the biggest brush, just to show you I can take it all the way down. It gives me a far smaller area that I'm working with. That's something I would use for creating rooms and working between the bits of the cave. Quite that square. Just have 3 rooms on this one. So that gives me my caves. I want to tidy up the front out here a bit and make it a bit more interesting. So I'm going to lower terrain and carve into the front about where I want my cave to start and the entrance to my cave to be. The logic behind this will become a bit more obvious in a moment. But this kind of kills 2 birds with 1 stone. There we go. Now I'm going to come over, paint water, and then I'm going to go back to flatten to room height, which is what you want inside your cave. And I don't want a really wide opening. Take it there, about there, and take it through. Here you can see I'm now starting to get a nice opening to my cave. I'm going to switch this to check. There we go. So now I'm in the most top down, and then actually as what I want is come over here, lower terrain, because I want the entrance of my cave to be in the water. So now we have a concealed entrance to the cave coming through the water. Back out to lower terrain. Punch a hole through there. Now, the kind of terrain I chose for this, actually might pick the right one, otherwise I put water in. Once you've put water on your map, if you dig down below room height, you'll get water. So you only really have to click once with painting water and take over your map if you're not careful. and I'm going to come to clear terrain, which will get rid of any foliage that happens to be on the inside of my cave. This is a lot more important if you've got something with a lot of trees. Back to flatten to room height. Take it back that way. Now, though this runs at the same kind of speed when you're running it inside a larger map, when you're going to save, when you're adding in rooms or materials, that's when things suddenly slow down. The other thing to be aware is if you want to put doors or walls in, you want to make sure that they're running directly square to the grid at that point. So we'll add one in down here. Let's zoom in. And I'm now going to come back up, go to crypt, dungeon, and I'm going to add it. I'm now going to back out to raise my terrain, small brush as possible for this. And all the way up. Now you'll want to go onto 3D for this, because you want to make sure that where you've taken your terrain to doesn't interfere too much inside your little room or outside the front of your little room. Now place doors, rock arch there. It's not like this. Let's go and place walls, rock wall there. Go, and on the outside. Place doors, grab that door, move it to there. These could be any kind of doors. I've just chosen to use those because they fit the theme. Fit back, edit terrain, and see how close I can get it to those walls. Because what I really want to do is see if I can get it. This is where you've got to be careful, because otherwise you end up with it being blocked inside. There we go. Clear terrain. Part of the background mapping. So, still looking a bit fruity to be inside of a cave. So, edit terrain, stone. I'm just going to come inside here. My terrain, so stone. That could equally be a mud floor if you wanted. And actually, if I was being completely authentic, probably would be a mud floor, because the odds are that water would have flooded. now we have a nice cave complex. And I forgot to do the save, so I don't have the nice pretty image, but also I was digging out. The other headache, if you leave these open, is you don't get the flat top terrain to enable you to take an image if you were to want your characters to move off the top. You can also, if you prefer, rather than having this open to the world and you wanted it to be deeper into a mountain, take that point, use a different terrain type. And now what it's doing is it's just looking like you've taken the top of the mountain. And then of course you're going to have to go in and clear any of the terrain, or you're going to have trees growing inside your mountain. Then this only depending on how you set your map up, if you're blocking vision, actually most of this is irrelevant because players won't see the walls, but you will. Come back over. There we go. So that's all well and good, but cave is dark inside. We can't see, so we're going to go to objects, just get some lanterns. There, lantern there, a lantern there. Now if you just want the equivalent of a crack and light coming through, I would put that directly in Foundry rather than sticking it in here. Nice array of lighting around the outside. With the water we can do some fun stuff, so go down to utility and boats. And let's have a broken boat sunk at the bottom there. And of course it's wet, so they've got to get in and out somehow. So they've got their boat to come in and out. That's the fundamentals. Environment settings, grey, which gives you a kind of dark nighttime effect. Then you want to pick where you want your sun. You need to watch what's called the spectacular effect on the water. So if it's coming straight over, it's blinding. You can bring it down a bit, that will minimize shadow, but you can't see what's under the water that clearly. You get further down here, you get more shadows. Now, because of the design of this map, you can bring it all the way over and your shadows fill the entire room. Or you can stop it just about there. Then how bright do you want your sun? Just enough to provide a little bit of light. So you're going to have minimal shadows from that anyway. Now, save your file. It's always useful to save your file as cave 1. And then export file. I want Foundry. You've got choice on the top down that's quite interesting to look here. So you've got orthographic, which is the standard top down. Perspective gives you a deeper feel. Limited perspective, halfway between the two. But you still get some walls on orthographic. High quality, you've got ultra high, but I'm not going that far. I want my grid off because I'll do any gridding within Foundry. Then render light and image and export. I'm going to let it do both. Frequently on my maps, I don't render the image of the light. I just render the light so that it disappears properly if I turn off the light within Foundry. So that only exports the light, so without the light turned on, you've got that, and the extra yellow will come provided by the light in Foundry. Export. This is going straight to my desktop. That's exported. It's now showing me where it is. Continue. And now I'll be back in a moment when we reach Foundry. Now we're back. We're within Foundry. So I want to create a new scene. Cave. Name isn't that important right now, nor configuring the scene. Right click, import data, choose file, cave1.json. Open and import. What that's going to do is provide all of the light information, as you can see. Hasn't provided my picture yet. Notice this is only applicable if you're looking at this fairly close to the release time. They are looking at a way to fix this at the moment. Configure, background image, choose file, cave1.jpg, open, select file, save changes. So that second part where you select the file is only required currently. It will be going away. Now we can go over to here. We can see where our lights are. Just put in another one, which wasn't what I wanted to do. Select that one. So there's lighting there. Go to my settings, configure, lighting, darkness level, put that somewhere in the middle. Now we can start to see light, and I'm just going to come over to these settings and set it to night time. There we go. And we can see our lights lighting up the world. But if I was to drag my little friend here in, notice short of the little bit where I put the door in, he can see absolutely everything. That's because there are no walls on the caves. So we need to go back into walls. Let's lighten the world up again. Make it easier for us. Walls. Now remember that holding control enables you to put snap walls together. So from there to there to there. Now I'm doing this on the inside of the walls, but you could equally be using the top section of the walls if you wanted them to see the outer wall. Down and do something more like this. Going to delete and put more ones in because actually that's easier. So from there to there, holding down control. Of course, this makes the height feel massive, but what you could do is then come halfway down. You're not now showing the full wall, and suddenly you've gone from massive caves to far smaller, more intimate caves. Run it all the way around. Now I could put extra ones in if I wanted to try and make these walls a bit smoother. I'm not going to. Also need to quickly chuck in a wall to seal off that doorway. Always the easiest thing placing walls. Now if we go on to our friend, night time. Our friend can only see what he's supposed to see. I apologise if a really high-pitched yelp just came from my dog. He's reacting to a dog crossing the road. How he knows it's doing it, I've got no idea. So that gives you a quick, easy way, easy-ish way to create more natural looking caves in Foundry should you want to, using Dungeon Alchemist. The headache is, unless you're putting rooms in, you won't get the AI side of Dungeon Alchemist, but you can add whatever objects you want for yourself, and you can put in rooms if you want yours. I hope you found this interesting. If you did, please give me a like, subscribe to the channel. We have a Facebook page, we have a Discord server. I paint regularly live on the Discord server, usually at 12 o'clock clock Eastern, 5 o'clock GMT, or British summertime, depending on what we're in, on a Saturday. You're more than welcome to join, and hopefully I'll see you at the next hangout.